everyone! There are a lot of news that come out of Elon Musk's companies every day. Let's see what happened while we were celebrating the holidays and up until now. Tesla showed record deliveries in the fourth quarter, 90,700 cars. It's 8% more than in the previous quarter. Together with the fourth quarter, Tesla delivered more than 245,000 cars in 2018, which almost doubled Tesla's fleet. Model 3 is now available for customers in Europe and China, no matter if they have a reservation or not. The Model 3 production line is almost entirely switching to producing cars for those markets. This model is supposed to be very popular. For instance, Tesla managed to double its sales in the Netherlands in 2018 due to the government support of EVs. Keep in mind that we're still talking about the most expensive Tesla models, S and X. By the 5th of January, Tesla got 13,733 orders for Model 3. Doesn't seem that much, but it's pretty good considering there are only two options available at the moment, and they are the most expensive ones too. By the way, several days earlier, a shipment of about 1,000 Tesla cars was spotted in the port of San Francisco. Almost all of the cars were Model 3. It's pretty obvious they're being prepared for a shipment to Europe or Asia. Avis, one of the largest rental car companies in the world, took delivery of 280 Teslas in Norway, the biggest Tesla market in Europe. Tesla increased range of the Model 3 mid-range by 4 miles. It is 264 miles now, and we're not sure what happened. Was it a software or a hardware update that enabled this change, or just a different way of calculating range? Tesla reacted to a tax credit phase-out with a price change. All of their cars cost $2,000 less now. The market didn't appreciate the change and shares dropped, wiping out billions in market cap, although the shares have since recovered. Earlier, Tesla announced that Model 3 became the best-selling premium sedan in the US in 2018. Media went ahead with saying it's too early to celebrate because there was no proof. Other automakers haven't gotten around to announcing their sales numbers. But now it's official. Tesla delivered a little over 140,000 Model 3s in the US. The next best-selling premium car is Lexus RX, with over 111,000 cars. Keep in mind that Lexus RX is an SUV. Other cars at the top of this list are also SUVs. When comparing to sedans, Tesla sold almost twice as many Model 3s as the next brand on the list. The most surprising things are, it is very hard to outsell an SUV. Americans love their SUVs. The cheap Model 3 is not even out yet, and the versions they do have been production constrained for a big part of the year. And finally, Tesla Model 3 is not available for lease yet, which is very important in this segment. At the same time, Model 3 used car statistics seems to be depressing for BMW and Audi. On the 1st of January, there were 78 Model 3s for sale on AutoTrader. It represents about 0.06% of all Model 3s sold in 2018. Statistics for cars sold in the same volume in the US in 2018 is quite different. Take Chevy Malibus, for instance. There are over 1,000 of those cars on the website. There were just a little less Ford Focuses sold in the US than M3s, but the website already features 986 cars. It is 13 times more than Model 3s, 0.8% of the cars sold. When we take Model 3's closest competitors into account, it doesn't get much better for them either. Model 3 not only outsold BMW 3 Series and Audi A4, but there were about 1,000 used BMW 3 Series and 502 used Audi A4 on sale. When we take the difference in how many cars were sold into account, there are potentially 40 times more BMW 3 Series owners that are ready to sell their cars than Model 3 owners. It's 30 times more for Audi A4. And also, let's not forget that Model 3s used to be sold practically new when people were trying to earn some money on the car that was hard to get. And judging by the mileage on the M3s listed, some of them still do. IIHS tested Model 3 earlier in the year, and the car received an acceptable rating for its headlights. Tesla made changes to M3's headlights in June. IIHS retested the car again and gave a better rating. Previous results are on the left and the new results are on the right. Tesla released its second safety report for the fourth quarter as promised. There are more accidents comparing to third quarter, but it might be due to difficult driving conditions. During third quarter, there was one accident or crash-like event per 1.92 million miles driven without Autopilot. It went up to one accident per 1.58 million miles in the fourth quarter. Same thing with accidents with Autopilot engaged. It used to be one accident per 3.34 million miles, and it's one per 2.91 million miles now. Anyhow, it is still way below average. According to NHTSA, it's one accident per 436,000 miles driven. And here's proof. Tesla Model 3 slid out of control on ice, but Autopilot took over. The car's owner commented, "The steering wheel was moving so fast that I preferred to let the car handle it." Elon Musk shared a long-promised Autopilot feature called Advanced Summon. It should be going to beta testers in the next few weeks. Although Tesla's been getting some regulatory pushback, so it might not be available in some regions or be limited. Advanced Summon will enable your car to drive to your phone location or follow you like a pet if you hold down the Summon button on Tesla app. Meanwhile, Tesla's been warning people who are buying a full self-driving option that the activation of the package might be far away for legal reasons. Tesla also thinks that USA might be closer to legalizing the feature than Europe. Tesla will also start testing the Autopilot Hardware 3 in employee cars soon. And as long as we're talking about hardware, Tesla filed for a 25% tariff exemption on the Model 3 computer that is made in China. Tesla claims that it cannot realistically switch suppliers, since it would have delayed Model 3 program by 18 months and will affect car safety. As far as we know, the company hasn't received an answer yet. Other automakers filed for tariff exemptions as well. The US Department of Transportation has implemented a quiet car rule that forces automakers to install devices that make noise at low speed into their electric and hybrid vehicles. They have to implement it by the end of next year. A YouTube blogger and Model 3 owner found a speaker grill underside of the front end of his car, so apparently Tesla's been preparing for that for some time now. Larry Ellison revealed his stake at Tesla due to becoming one of the board members. He made a large investment in the automaker last year and now owns 3 million shares worth $1 billion. Barrett Riley's parents filed a lawsuit against Tesla. Back in May, he crashed into a concrete wall at 116 miles per hour. The car caught on fire, 2 teenagers were killed and 1 was injured. Riley's parents installed a speed limiter, but he managed to remove it in one of the service centers. And now they're suing Tesla, claiming that the battery pack was defective and the company failed to warn them of the battery's dangerous condition. Since the crash, Tesla has released a software update with a speed limiting feature dedicated to Riley, and now commented that even though their thoughts are with the families affected by the crash, no car could have withstood a high-speed crash of this kind. Tesla filed a patent for a system that is using sensors in car seats that determine passengers' weight and position. It'll help them program safer airbag deployment. Tesla's developing a way to monitor stress cycles of certain vehicle components to detect a failure before it happens. Stress sensors will be set up throughout the vehicle, and service centers will be connected to the system. They will receive data and schedule service when needed. The car might drive itself to the service center in the future. Answering to this video on Twitter, Musk said that Tesla Roadster 2 will be able to do something like that with its SpaceX option. "Didn't you mean this?" answered Model 3 Owners Club. "Quarter mile in less than 8 seconds?" someone asked. "No problem. Vertically or horizontally?" tweeted Elon. Tesla stopped taking orders for 75 kilowatt versions of the Model S and X. Seems like it's not long before we'll see a battery with more capacity. Tesla got an order for 2 more semi-trucks from Travel Retail Norway that operates duty-free stores at 5 largest airports in Norway. The trucks will move goods from Europe. The company still doesn't know when they'll be able to get their semi, even though they've already placed a deposit. Tesla semi-production is scheduled for end of the year in Northern America, but we can only guess when the European version is coming. Elon Musk promised to build more Supercharger stations. The company is already working on setting up more city charging stations and next year they'll cover all of Europe, from Ireland to Kiev and from Norway to Turkey. Recently, more and more Tesla owners have experienced icing of the charging station. It's when people with ICE cars intentionally take the parking spot intended for EVs. Tesla have come up with a new interesting system. They set up a lock at the parking space next to a charger that works with a QR code and a Tesla app. This has only been implemented in China for now, and we're wondering if it's going to spread further. The GM CEO Mary Barra said that they've been in talks with Tesla over buying one of their plants, and said that the California automaker is not interested in the UAW workforce GM has to offer, so it seems like it's out of the question. Tesla registered a new leasing company in China. According to the documents, the company operates in leasing and consultancy. Zhu Xiaotong is listed as a representative of the new business. He is also Tesla's head of China. And finally, Tesla broke ground on the new Gigafactory in China. We talked about the details in our previous video, what to expect from Elon Musk and his companies in 2019. Tesla Energy. Gigafactory 1 produced more than 600 million battery cells that add up to almost 11 gigawatt-hours of energy capacity. These are the cells for Model 3. Gigafactory also produces cells for energy storage products, but only partially, since Tesla is also buying those cells elsewhere, so it's hard to tell how much of those were produced in Nevada. A Tesla solar installer revealed that it takes 2 weeks to complete a solar roof installation, which means this might actually be the biggest bottleneck for the production ramp-up. While launching the product, Tesla expected that installation would roughly take the same time as a regular roof installation, 5 to 7 days. Tesla met with the Greek government recently. They've talked about setting up solar panels and energy storage products on the Limnos island in order to reduce its dependence on fossil fuels. This pilot project might turn out to be a big venture that'll modernize the country's electric grid. SpaceX. One of the most important things that happened recently is that a Starship prototype is finished. This is a real picture versus a rendering. Hopper tests should start soon, and the final version of the ship will be a little different from the test version. We're supposed to be able to see it this summer. SpaceX is laying off 10% of its workforce. There are about 6,000 people working in the company right now. SpaceX says they need to concentrate on the important projects and are laying off people in different departments that pull attention from critical things. Otherwise, this would not have been necessary, they say. But a journalist, Eric Berger, suggested that the reason behind this decision is that the company grew too fast, which resulted in poor hiring strategy. The second reason might be that Falcon 9 is becoming more reusable, and there is no need to produce that many rockets and engines. First Falcon 9 launch in 2019 was a success. 10 Iridium satellites are in orbit. The first stage went back to the platform, although due to bad weather conditions, Mr. Steven didn't get to try to catch a fairing this time. This was a second launch for this booster, and it will be reused for the third time as well. Meanwhile, Mr. Steven is still training. The helicopter is dropping the fairing half, and Steve is trying to catch it. Unfortunately, he's not been successful yet. Dragon came back from the ISS and did it at night for the first time. It was its second launch. Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon went vertical in Florida. The first flight is scheduled for February. The photo with an astronaut walkway is not a rendering. And this is how tall you have to be to ride on the Dragon. Fake news. Media picked up on news about a self-driving Tesla destroying a Russian robot that was brought to CES this year. But don't you think it's strange that this robot is just hanging out on the side of the road waiting to be hit by a car? What is it even doing there, and why does this video start at the point when a Tesla hits the robot, instead of when the robot decides the road is a great place to park? George Caldera, who was in that Tesla at the time, gave a weird comment to Daily Mail saying that he was only a passenger and Tesla was in self-driving mode. The non-existent self-driving mode apparently, since it's only a driver assist system for now that is meant to be used on well-marked roads like highways. This just looks like a PR stunt to us. What do you think about it? And this is it. 2019 started out quite well, don't you think? Thank you for watching and see you next week.